new rules in golf came in at the beginning of the year and they have been one hot talking point. So who best to discuss them with than the R&A's Rules Director, Grant Moyer. Grant, everyone has been talking about these new rules. On the whole, how do you personally feel like they've been perceived?
Well, it's been the biggest change to the rules of golf for 50 years. So obviously the transition period was going to be hard. But the R&A has been around the globe talking to golfers in this early part of the new rules, and the reaction has been positive.
Whether it's been players, fans, officials, everyone has had an opinion on these new rules. Were you expecting them to have such a big reaction and for them to be such a talking point?
Well, change obviously is significant, and there's been probably more talk about the new rules than we could have anticipated. And if nothing else, what it does mean is that golfers everywhere certainly know now that there are new rules in effect.
Well, one of the reasons why we're here, Grant, is because you're going to demonstrate to me and to the viewers at home some of the rules that have made the headlines and have made the big talking points. So hopefully this will help me and you at home as well.
Yep, let's go and do it.
Let's do it. One of the new rules that's received a lot of attention is the knee-high drop. Grant, just talk us through why you introduced this rule.
Okay, well, under the old rules, taking relief was more complicated than it needed to be. So if you had a 2 club length relief from the penalty area, you could drop it and it could roll up to another 2 club lengths. That totally confused people. So what we wanted to focus on was that you have a relief area, you drop the ball in the relief area and you play from that relief area. And the knee-high drop makes it much easier to guarantee that the ball will stay in that area. So we just feel it's easier to understand, easier to apply for all golfers.
Okay, well, and because some players on tour have found it a little tricky, a little awkward, they've kind of suggested why can't they just drop the ball anywhere between the knee and the original shoulder height?
Sure. Well, look, again, we wanted to ensure that more often than not the ball will stay in this area. If you're able to drop higher up, then there's more chance of the ball rolling outside. Then you get into placing, and we didn't want that. We wanted the focus to be on playing from in here, and that's why we stipulated the knee-high drop.
Right, we've got a ball in hand. Should we give it a go?
Why not?
Let's. Okay.
I'll get rid of this club.
2 club length, take it from the knee and drop. What's
Simple.
all the fuss about, eh?
Simple as that.
Now, I've heard some people say that this position gives them backache. What do you say to that?
Well, look, we'd never make light of back issues, but when you think during a game, the amount of times you pick the ball out of the hole, tee the ball up, swing the club, so we're not convinced that that's a legitimate criticism.
Okay. Well, it seems simple enough for me. It makes perfect sense, so thank you very much. Now, one rule that no one can miss because visually it is so different, Grant, is putting with the flagstick in. Now, it seems like the amateurs are loving this new rule. We've seen pros putting with the flagstick in now from 6-7 feet away. What do you think it's done for the game?
Well, what we're hearing anecdotally is that it really has helped to improve the pace of play out in, for club golfers. Even we're hearing word of 15-20 minutes being saved during a round. And that was the intention of the change, is to enable you to putt without having to wait for somebody to come out of a bunker and attend the flagstick for you.
Yeah, I mean, every rule will divide opinions. So some people have said that with the amateur game in a 4-ball, some people like the flagstick in, some like it out, which slows down play. What would you say to that?
Well, any rule change can have its upsides and its downsides, but we felt that in the vast majority of cases that this would improve pace of play, and that's certainly what we're seeing, that's certainly what we're hearing.
Okay, well, Grant, I'm a big fan of this rule, and I'm going to show you how much of a big fan I am. Oh, it looks good. Yes. Well, the good news is the ruling around bunker play has relaxed and there's less possibility for penalties. But Grant, there's still a bit of a misconception about when the club can hit the sand, so do tell us.
That's right. Well, yeah, the rules have relaxed in the bunker, but we needed to maintain the challenge of playing from the bunker, which is playing from the sand. So you still need to be careful with what you do with the club around the ball. Can't ground the club in front of the ball or behind the ball, and can't sweep away sand on the backswing.
And am I also right in thinking you can move sort of loose obstacles like twigs around the ball as well?
Yeah, that's right. These natural objects like the divot here, stones, twigs, they're not considered to be part of the challenge of playing from the bunker, so you can move those out of the way.
Okay, so even though the rules have relaxed, you've still got to be pretty careful with your club head around the ball touching the sand.
That's right.
Good stuff. Grant, anyone who's been watching golf on TV this year would have noticed the controversy surrounding player alignment and caddy positioning. I know the R&A issued a clarification over the issue recently. Just tell us why that was and about the problem.
So the purpose of the rule is to ensure that players align themselves. It's a basic skill of the game, and the good news is that everybody's on board with that. The European Tour, Ladies European Tour, LPGA, PGA Tour, and we've virtually eliminated alignment. But old habits are hard to break, and we were finding that there was going to be possibly more penalties under this rule than we'd anticipated. So we felt we needed to relax the rule a little bit, and so we've issued this clarification that says that if the caddy and the player find themselves in the wrong position, then as long as they back out and the caddy gets out of the way, then they can avoid a breach of this rule.
Okay, should we have a demonstration?
Okay.
So I'm a player, I've addressed my ball, and you're my caddy.
Yeah, and I've got myself in the wrong position here, but with this clarification, what we can do is, as long as you back out and I get myself out of the way, then you can go back in and play your stroke.
And everything's fine?
Yeah, absolutely, no penalty.
Great. Okay, Grant, worst case scenario, my tee shot has gone completely wayward. Are there any new rules in terms of when I'm looking for my ball out of bounds or whether it's lost altogether?
Okay, there has been some confusion around whether we've changed the rule for a lost ball or a ball that's out of bounds. There is no change to the rule of golf, but a committee can introduce a local rule for a ball that's lost or out of bounds.
So what exactly is the local rule then?
Okay, well, if you've lost your ball or you think it might be out of bounds, you have the option to drop for a penalty of 2 strokes in relation to either the estimated spot where the ball would be lost or the estimated spot where it went out of bounds. But it's a local rule, not a rule of golf.
Good to know. Or alternatively, just don't hit your ball out of bounds.
That's another solution, yeah.
Well, as we mentioned, this has been the biggest change in the rules of golf for over 50 years, and we've really only just scratched the surface looking at points that have received the most attention. But there are a lot of other rules that are nestling in really nicely, aren't there?
Yeah, the changes have been really significant. It's been a collaborative process, been the R&A, USGA, the tours, feedback from golfers themselves, and there have been a lot of changes that have bedded in really well. Pace of play addressed with the move from 5 minutes to 3 minutes for a ball search, ready golf, for example, becoming really popular. We've reduced penalties. You don't get penalised if you move your ball during search and if it's accidentally moved on the putting green. These things are really positive changes that have bedded in really nicely.
Yeah, and it's been great having a few demos today. But if someone at home wanted to brush up on their ruling knowledge, where could they go to do that?
Well, we have produced for the first time a player's edition of the rules, which is specifically aimed at you, the golfer. Has lots of nice diagrams in it to help people through relief situations. We've got a great new app with a visual search. And you can also go onto randa.org where we've got videos and quizzes and loads of things to help people transition to these new rules.
Good stuff. Well, rules can be fun. I've had a brilliant time. Thank you so much. I feel so much more confident going out onto the course now, knowing that I've got to the bottom of all of the misconceptions. So hopefully you at home will get out on the course as well.